Rocksteady Boxing in Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm thrilled to be having a conversation with Colleen Bridges, founder of Bridges for Parkinson's, leader of Rocksteady Boxing here in Middle Tennessee. Colleen is an expert in the importance of exercise for Parkinson's patients, but more than that, she's an amazing musician and singer, and I'm really thrilled to be able to share this opportunity to speak with her and pick her brain about all things exercise and Parkinson's. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
So I'm very interested in your story. Now, you've been part of my life for the last 2 years and a real inspiration for me, but we've never really had a chance to talk about how a music major ends up being such a fantastic resource and expert in exercise and Parkinson's.
Well, I started singing when I was 4, in church. I'm raised with a lot of gospel, and I always joke that I was raised with a lot of gospel, a little bit of Bach, and Captain and Tennille. And then went to school and actually got my undergrad in vocal performance, and then got my master's in education.
Wow.
And taught junior high and high school musical theater and choir for 7 years, while pursuing the fitness side of things as well. I was a certified personal trainer, and I was working with the general population, so people who wanted to be healthy, but they didn't necessarily have a back issue or a disease that they were fighting. So then about 18 and a half years ago, one of my clients had a friend come to her and say, my husband has just been diagnosed with Parkinson's. What should we do? And she goes, oh, well, you should contact Colleen Bridges. When he called, I said, I need to learn more about Parkinson's before I train you. At that time, there was very little science and research on Parkinson's and the benefits of exercise.
Right.
We really had, which was amazing, Dr. J. Albert's exercise study on forced intense exercise, which is how I base all of my classes.
What is that? Explain that.
So forced intense exercise, it sounds horrible, but all that it means is that I, as your group instructor or your personal trainer, depending on what our setting is it's my job to push you to work just a little bit harder than you would on your own. So when you go to the gym, because you go to the gym a lot, you're working at a voluntary state. In your mind, you tell yourself, all right, that's enough, I'm done. Me, when you're in class, I'm like, come on, Tom, we can do, we can do 10 more curls or 30 more seconds of pushing. Of course, all with common sense. But there is such a neurological benefit to forced intense exercise, to the point where that you get a longer dopamine signal. You are able to preserve the dopamine neurons that you have, which when somebody's diagnosed with Parkinson's, they're usually already 60 to 70% deficient of their dopamine neurons. Your mood and your sleep are better regulated. Your anxiety is hopefully lower. And even things like you're not quite as sensitive to insulin, so which can cause tremors. It can amplify your Parkinson's symptoms. So just that little bit of push with common sense, surrounding it always, is going to give you many times over neuro benefits. Wow. So that's how I base all of my Rocksteady classes.
So how did you begin doing the Rocksteady program?
Well, back in about 2012, I said to Dick, my very first Parkinson's client, who just my biggest supporter and encourager, and I had started working with others as well, but he's kind of my mentor and still is. I said, not everybody can afford personal training 3 times a week. I mean, it's expensive. Right. And I said, but we have this whole community of people. I know that they're out there and they have no idea the benefits of forced intense exercise. So 3 years go by, I keep learning, I keep taking classes, I keep experimenting with his and my other Parkinson's clients, routines and what I can do. And somebody hands me a newspaper article about Rocksteady Boxing, and then tells me about the vignette on 60 Minutes. And I watched it, and my husband comes in, and I'm just bawling my eyes out. And he goes, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I found what I need to do." You know, and he's like, "Well, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes." You know, and so that was in November of 2015, but it wasn't until July of 2016 that I could actually get certified in Rocksteady.
So what's involved in getting certified in Rocksteady?
Well, and just so you know, because I'm already a personal trainer and have been working, I actually went ahead and started my own program, and then I changed the name once I got certified. But in order, it's changed, so I'm grandfathered in, but it's changed some degree. You now have to have a certification as a group instructor or a personal training certification. Wow. And you have to go through a whole series of classes. And then at some point in time, you're required to go there and take in-person classes.
Is that in Indianapolis?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the program that we do, it's a mix of your own experience.
What I do with you guys, I have developed over the years. Sure. And it's all, original.
So you work with a lot of musicians. I mean, we're in Nashville. What are some of the particular hurdles that musicians face? For example, you've been really responsive to my issues of tempo. You've been working to develop exercises that kind of focus in on tempo.
Yeah. So I would say that some deal with more of a tremor rather than the rhythmic issue.
Interesting.
So an anxiety, of course, increases that tremor.
That seems to be universal.
Yes, yeah.
Without a doubt. And as I've noted with others, as performers, as music performers, we kind of rely on that anxiety, that edge, that performance edge. But for me personally, my Parkinson's symptoms don't discriminate between positive anxiety and negative anxiety. They all have a kind of a negative effect.
Yeah, and some people come with, their tremor's not an issue, the rhythm is not an issue, the voice is the issue.
Interesting.
So it's interesting how much music, my music background and music in general can be used to address those issues. And because you're musicians, you understand what you're supposed to feel. It's not like I'm having to teach you rhythm, or I'm not having to teach you, how to play. It's maybe adapting. I know I've had some with their fine motor skills. We add the fine motor skill exercises, and now they're able to continue doing what they love to do.
That's amazing. And I think everybody who has that conversation with their doctor when they find out they have Parkinson's, in that initial conversation, it seems to be invariably the presentation of the importance of exercise. And as someone who is still in the process of prioritizing my exercise, I will admit, just how important exercise is and why exercise is so important, I think is something that I would really like to talk with you about. Because as I talk with other PD patients, not all are so committed to exercise as being such a vital part of their daily life, and I think that they should. So I really want to pick your brain as to why is exercise so important for us, and why is it that it's so effective in slowing the progress?
Okay. Well, let me start with the actual exercise prescription that is most beneficial for Parkinson's. So when you went to the doctor, they gave you a prescription for carbidopa, levodopa, or maybe a dopamine agonist, whatever your process is. And on that pill bottle, it has your name. It says the name of the medication. It says take 3 times a day, X amount of pills. You have a plan. So just like you have a medication prescription, and you know when to take it. What most people don't realize is that their exercise is also a prescription. It is an incredible dose of medication, and I'll talk about why in just a minute. But what I've found over 20 years of working with people living with movement disorders, starting with MS and then moving into Parkinson's, is that people living with Parkinson's need to exercise 5 to 6 times a week. Now, what that looks like, what we have found here at Bridges for Parkinson's, is that at least 2 to 3 times a week, our goal is that you come to us here at the gym, or maybe you join us online for one of our virtual classes, and they get what we call the comprehensive exercise routine. That's going to be our Rocksteady class. That's where you come to me and I'm going to cover everything. We're going to address all the symptoms, and we're going to do that with that forced intense model. We're going to be moving in the 7 functional daily movements that we do, which is hinge, pull, push, squat, lunge, rotate, carry. So that I tell people, you want to come to us for that, because we're going to do exercises you wouldn't even begin to know to do. And I think you can testify that there's a lot that you go, I had no idea we were supposed to do that. And then you want to get at least 2 days a week of moderate cardio. Now that could be walking, jogging, this time of year, swimming. But the idea is that you are moving. We have to keep moving. And I really encourage people to make sure that those 2 days of cardio, if their hips and their back are in their knees are cooperative, to make it something along the lines of walking or jogging, because it's weight bearing. And when you do weight bearing exercises, you improve your bone density. And what people don't realize is that Parkinson's meds some of them can affect your bone density. So we want to make sure that not only with me are you getting that weight bearing exercises, because we do strength training here as well. It's not just boxing, but even on your days on your own, your cardio needs to be, if possible, something that has impact or weight bearing. And then at least 1 day a week of a stretch class or a Tai Chi or yoga, simply because we know from research that Tai Chi, yoga, stretch really helps lower the anxiety of somebody living with Parkinson's, in addition to all the rigidity issues. And let's face it, 90% of people living with Parkinson's deal with depression and anxiety. So anything that we can do to lower that and help them fight back is going to give them hope. And it's not going to be so overwhelming every day having to deal with the symptoms of Parkinson's. So that's the prescription.
So there is a release of dopamine that comes.
Oh, absolutely.
Does it come from certain types of exercise, or the aggregate of all of them?
Well, that goes back to that forced intense exercise.
Okay.
When you come to me, or somebody goes to a Parkinson's fitness specialist, which I highly recommend that anybody watching this who's living with Parkinson's find somebody who's certified as a Parkinson's fitness specialist. It makes all the difference in the world in their training. But when you do that forced intense exercise, like I was talking about earlier, at least 2 to 3 times a week, that is going to increase your dopamine levels and make those signals last longer. And then the cardio, the moderate cardio that you get the day after, and the stretching, they're going to actually extend that a little bit longer. So there are times that people will come to my class and they will maybe have a really bad tremor. And by the end of class, it might be even a little bit worse, kind of like when we do heavy weights, when we feel that little bit of a wiggle in our muscles. But the next day, I can't tell you how many times somebody's, oh my gosh, my tremor's gone. Yeah. And it'll last. It's kind of like a high. I mean, it is. Dopamine is a reward pleasure sentence.
Does the body keep releasing dopamine afterwards, or is it that dopamine dump that came at the exercise lasts that long?
I think it's along more of the lines of the dopamine dump. Everything has a purpose. Understanding the areas of the brain that have been affected by Parkinson's, like we were talking before the video shoot, talking about how the putamen is a part of helping us establish rhythm and keep it going, keeping that rhythm, continuous. Knowing that and knowing what other areas of the brain have been affected, like the cerebellum, its role is to help fine-tune our movements. And what helps that? Repetition. So what do? we do exercises from the beginning to the end that are very similar all the way throughout your routine. They get a little bit harder, and I maybe change them up a little bit, but I'm doing the same type of movement so that your brain has time to refine and improve on that, so that when you walk out of here, it leaves with you, and it's not just like, okay, well, I'm done with that. No, it's going to help the rest of your day be able to move smoother.
The speed bag is just so hard for me to get this hand moving.
And so you have that visual. It's right there in front of you.
But it's it was so difficult. But through the course of the session, it got easier and easier.
It did, and I think one time I even came up to help you get started. I
couldn't get it to go.
Yeah, but once we did, you got it. Yeah,
it's really interesting. Very, very interesting.
You know, our brain rehearses rhythm. And if we get off beat, then that area of the brain is not activated.
Right.
So if I can help get that rhythm going, you know, sometimes, like you were saying, you could get this one going, but you couldn't. This one was kind of having I have a hard time doing it because I don't have Parkinson's. But for the person with Parkinson's, if you're not able to get the rhythm, whether it's this or something that you're trying to say, or a movement that we're doing, or like when we're boxing and I'm giving you that rhythmic auditory stimulus, so you hear that beat, but you're having a hard time at first, that means that area of the brain is not firing. So we keep doing it, we keep doing it, we keep doing it from the beginning to the end. And that's where the miracle is in the movement.
Yeah, interesting.
You keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it. The brain goes, oh, I need to be doing this.
That's really interesting.
Have you thought about when you're practicing, you wouldn't actually do this in a performance, but if you were to practice it big, say, you know, it's in 4/4, and really work on that middle part, exaggerating that crossover or however you want to do it, then in your mind when you're performing, you still visualize that big conducting practicing.
Because everything gets shrunken.
It does. Whether it's your handwriting,
which is
posture,
everything gets shrunken. That's really interesting. I'd have to try that.
And even practice it with your eyes closed. So you have to feel your proprioception, where your body is in time and space. You know, at one point, I'll maybe open an eye and be like, oh, that's too small. I need to get bigger. Because that's the interesting part about Parkinson's is that, for example, stick your arm out. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I say stick your arm out, and I get this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I didn't say stick it out straight, but I should have. But you know, when we're in class and we're doing a reach and pull, I'm constantly having to say, lengthen your arms, get the bend out of your elbow, because Parkinson's, people living with Parkinson's lose that ability to know where they are in time and space.
When I'm at my worst, the way that I describe it is imagine holding somebody else by the elbow and writing your name with their hand. That's exactly the experience that when things are not going well, that's exactly the experience I have. And so I'm always looking for ways to get connected again and feel the connection again. And it doesn't always happen, and sometimes it's okay. Still my biggest obstacles are fast tempos.
So when we do the walk the bag exercise, it's for you, buddy. But you know what? You'd be surprised how many people that also struggle with that. It's like they go, I can get the other hand, and I'll see it. Their hands, you know, the other hand's just doing it, and the other hand's just kind of dragging behind.
That's exactly,
yeah. But we keep doing it. We keep doing it. We keep doing it.
So okay, so let me ask you. I ask everybody in my conversations, if you have when you have that opportunity to speak with people that are just finding out that they're on this journey. What do you say to them?
Breathe. Hmm. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. The thing about being diagnosed with Parkinson's is that we are so blessed here in Nashville. We have a wonderful Parkinson's community, but that extends out across America. There are Parkinson's communities everywhere. So first breathe, know it's going to be okay, and then step by step create your team. You have to have a team. Obviously, the neurologist, movement disorder physician. You've got to have an exercise specialist, and they need to be a Parkinson's disease fitness specialist by everything. That's so important. I would also make sure that your family has the opportunity to attend a care partner support group, because they need somebody to talk to as well and be able to process the emotions that they're feeling, be able to even gain advice from other people of how they're handling their journey. The people that have been on the journey have wisdom. Those who are maybe a few months ahead in their diagnosis, they have some feedback they can give. And then now you, 2 years in, certainly have feedback that you could give to somebody who was just diagnosed, the other day. So build your team step by step and make exercise a priority. Number one, it's going to benefit the body physically, but emotionally, it's also going to benefit you. You now have this community of friends that when you walk in, I'm like, hey, Tom, how you doing?
Absolutely.
And you are loved. You have a place that you can vent. You have a place you can seek out advice. And ultimately, that brings hope to somebody. And if somebody has hope, then they're able to uncover new possibilities.
Sure. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love doing this.
Awesome. I think that's it.